Fed Powell tried to scare the market a little bit today as some selling came in for the FOMC meeting that we had on today, Wednesday afternoon. Now, we did say that the market was going to continue to hold strong, especially if these earnings came out positive, which they did. We had Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood, as well as Qualcomm, ARM, some semiconductors that shot the market higher. And we're going to talk about it in today's video. I want to get you prepared, as I said I would on our previous Stock Sermon Sunday, prepared this week with multiple videos so you can end the month off strong for July, and also going into a new month, how to prepare for the volatility that's coming forth for the fall time. All right. Anytime we have big moves, big breakouts, it is an awesome time because that is where the money has made, and we can put a little bit more risk back onto our trades more specifically. If you are a long-term investor, this video is for you as well. Understanding how to manage your long-term positions, continually hold, but also do not be too greedy, as we have extreme greed that is stepping into the market, and we could have some pullbacks. All right. So without further ado, we're right on this calendar here, as you can see. Let me move myself out of the way. Let's jump into it. We got Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood, Applied Blockchain there. We got Carvana, Lam Research, Qualcomm, and ARM in the semiconductor sector right there. So we'll look at each one of those charts and prepare for some trading opportunities as the last day of July is coming in. Do the markets continue higher to finish off the month of July? Or sometimes what you'll see at the end of a month, there's a lot of volatility. Is there heavy profit taking towards the end of July? Because we do have those tariff news updates that are coming in August from the presidential campaign in office right now, not campaign, but president in office right now, President Trump. All right. So look here as well. It's not done. It's not done. Tomorrow after close, the end of month, we got Apple and Amazon. We got MicroStrategy. We got Coinbase, big moves that are continuing there. So I'm wanting to really get some nice trades in tomorrow in the morning, lock those in, and then end off the month strong, starting into a new month. All right. So let's jump into the charts here and see what's going on. And I want you to see what happened today towards the end of the day. If you noticed here, if you watched my Stock Sermon Sunday, which is our weekly series on Sunday where I talk about the market and what's going on, you can see exactly the levels that we talked about on Sunday and from my video yesterday. Look at this pullback almost exactly to this previous high. Okay. If you remember, let me know down below in the comments. I said 630 to 632 zone. We were probably going to have buyers step back in. And where do we pull right back to? Right there at that 631, and it bounced. Okay. Now we've taken out new highs and we're all the way up here. Okay, after hours. So the bullish trend continues, stair-stepping its way up into new highs. All right. So now that we've broken back above that 637 that I was talking about and above this 638.60, okay, approaching that psychological level of 640. Remember, psych levels are round, even numbers that the market likes to gravitate to. So I'm going to go ahead and move this resistance up to that 640 level. And that's where we're going to pay attention very closely tomorrow to see if SPY can break through, or do we resist right there at that 640. All right. So watch 640 tomorrow. Remember, do not get too greedy chasing up into highs because there's going to be a gap in the morning. All right. And for those that know, if you don't know, gaps are created with news that happens overnight or after hours for New York session, more so option trading. Okay. If you're a futures trader, right, you have a plethora, which I do trade futures as well. And we'll talk about ES and NQ as well, along with SPY and QQQ. Okay. So let me turn on the after hours here so you can actually see what's going on and you can get a gist. Okay. Look at that dip buy from 631 and have made it a $10 move almost into new highs. Now we've got to pay attention to this. Like I said, as we approach into that 640, does SPY take it out or do we get resisted? Okay. So tomorrow there will be a gap from 640 back down to 635. Okay. So what I want to go ahead and do, and you can follow along with me with your charts, is go ahead and mark the high of yesterday. Okay. Where we had that big resistance. I want to mark that high to see if we stay above it. If we remain above this, okay, if we pull back slightly in the pre-market tomorrow and we remain above it, then we could try to squeeze to end the month higher. Okay. If we fail back below it or we're below it pre-market in the morning for some reason, and we get a big push underneath and we can't get back above and we start forming lower highs, we can come back to that gap fill close down at 635. Okay. So either way, be careful. Mark that previous day high right around 637.50 and see what we do there. Okay. So there's SPY for you. Typically when I see this stuff and we push higher, I like to take rejects, okay, with puts. But if you're more of a bullish trader, like I said, you want to be careful with calls, chasing it up into here. You want to see a pullback, find a bottom with your calls, see buyers step back in, and then rally back up. Okay. QQQ even stronger, especially with those tech stocks stepping in. We've got 575 approaching. Another psych level. Psych levels, round even numbers, typically go 5s, 10s, 15s, things like that. So I look at 570, 575 as approaching right there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that 575. Excuse me. Go ahead and mark that 575 as a psych level, and I'm going to put it in red as resistance. Okay. I'm also going to bring this up here and mark that this is Wednesday. I marked that Tuesday high at 572. Okay. You see right there where it pulled back to and held right here, 572. So that is now a support as well. Okay. So these are levels that we could pull back to, hold support and go higher. And again, like I said, we want to react to levels. We don't guess, we don't gamble. Okay. So if it grinds higher than this 575, we could see a reject, fail, trap, right back down. Okay. So watch that 572 to see if we hold to rally back to the upside. Okay. Again, if we fail below it, okay, 572, all you do is look left, and I want to go ahead and mark that previous day high right there, which is at 570. Okay. So I've got Tuesday's highs, I've got today's highs, and then those will act as supports and pivot areas that buyers may want to hold up those levels. Okay. So those are marked, ready to go. And if we get a bigger move and there's a big sell-off for whatever reason, profit taking, we blast through that level, right? It could give the whole move back overnight. Okay. And there's where that look above and fail, as we call it. All right. So QQQ 572, 570, watch those levels and watch 575 above. Okay. Awesome. Let's jump into IWM. IWM, beautiful sell. Remember, if you remember from Sunday's market analysis, IWM is the small caps, okay? Small cap companies need rate cuts or need more confidence that rate cuts are coming. So if they're not getting confidence that rate cuts are coming, right, they're going to sell off, which is what it did. Now, the beautiful thing about IWM is that it's been extremely strong up until this point. So what I want to do is I want to pay attention to IWM into this buyer area of 220 to 218. Okay. And there's the zone marked right there. And you can see, for those that are still learning the charts, make sure to go check out my how to chart video on the channel. You can see right here, if I look left and the dates are at the bottom. So this is back in February, 219, 220, went up to 230. Bounce, went higher. Big move right there off of this level. So guess what? It's pulling back into that level one more time with higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and another higher low. So if this is a pullback, we could trend upwards one more time if the market remains strong. Okay. So I want to watch that on IWM, that we could get a nice bounce potentially. Okay. So I want to go ahead and mark that 222. Okay. See where we pushed up to, rejected at the end of the day. So I want to mark that as my pivot. That just means if it gets back above that pivot zone, that's where maybe the squeeze could happen, right back to the highs. Okay. So I want to watch that, and I want to watch this support level down into here. And I'm going to go ahead and mark the previous day low as well. Okay. So that's kind of my zone of what it does in these yellow lines. If it falls below that, I want to be a little bit more patient to see how far it goes and then see if I can get a squeeze. If not, right, if it squeezes up above that 222, okay, then we can maybe get some movement back up to the levels above. Okay. So you see it's the same way going up. Okay. So I'm going to mark that previous day This is Wednesday, Tuesday. This is Monday's low right here, which is 223. So these are the levels that we would want to gravitate back up to right here. Does it reject? Break above there. Cool. Break above there. Cool. Take it level to level. All right. So those are my levels that are marked. Remember 225, 226, heavy resistance zone up in here. And it respected it pretty nicely. Okay. Cool. Beautiful there. Let's jump into a couple of stocks here, which are the stock that we're going to pay attention to tomorrow. Let's jump into Meta. Okay. Absolutely killed earnings. Look at this. Oh my goodness. An $80 move on earnings. I talked about it in live trading today that Meta typically moves $60 to $80 on earnings. It's just wild. I mean, if you took a lotto on this, congratulations. I mean, either way. I mean, Meta, I still haven't taken one on Meta lately, but I keep regretting to not do it personally because it's almost 800. Like, it just could have done a lotto on 800 calls and it's probably going to show up pretty decent in the morning. Okay. So if you did take a lotto trade, that means a contract that you took pre-earnings, please make sure that you take it out, right? Especially if it's a weekly contract. Go ahead. Don't even think about it. Wake up in the morning. Go ahead and take your profits. All right. So congratulations to anyone that did that. Now, for the trade tomorrow on Meta, I'm going to be looking at Meta, Microsoft, as well as Hood. Okay. And we'll talk about each one of those, the trading idea. So what's going to happen on Meta is there's going to be a massive gap. Okay. Now, most people don't think this way. If you're not experienced in trading, you don't think about shorting or puts on a very strong stock, but I'm not looking to stay in it very long. Okay. Look at this RSI on Meta here. If it stays close to this 790 or even tries to push up to 800, I may look at shorting with puts tomorrow if the contracts cool off enough. If there's still this price, look at these prices. If there's still heavy, like IV, still very expensive, I'll leave Meta alone. Okay. Personally. But if you want to, I would look at maybe scalping it back down. So here's how it would look with candles. Okay. If Meta stays right here at 780 and starts pulling back, okay, you can scalp that for 15, 20 bucks if it stays up here. Okay, so it'll be a red candle that immediately starts falling. Let me show you for my beginners what it looks like. Here's Starbucks, a perfect example. Up pre-market, you wake up in the morning, it comes into resistance, pulls back. Doesn't always happen that way, but that's how you can scalp, meaning a short trade that you get in and out of very quickly. And on a Thursday, it could be a nice 50, 60, 70% trade. Okay. So it would look something like this. All right. So Meta is, I personally love gap ups because I like trading puts personally. I like shorting overextended stocks. It's the easiest trade in my opinion. It's overextended because people are about to take their profits, right? And I can enter puts and write it down. All right. However, if you're not experienced or don't know how to do that and you're not in a live trading group or you don't know where to enter, please be careful. But if I take it, I will look for price action of how it's reacting and see if I can get a pullback back to that 760 level where I see some buyers that step back in. So that would be my level I'll be looking for, 760, 755 for it to pull back. All right. If it wants to have a big profit taking, right, I always like to mark the previous high that it broke above because it's still a break and a retest. Doesn't always have to do it, but if this is a break, right, and we fail and come all the way back down and then try to go all the way back up, that's the volatility that can happen. All right, especially at the end of a month. So 750, 755, maybe 760 on Meta. If it breaks these highs, it's most likely going to try to squeeze up to 800. Okay, nice round psychological level right there. Okay, cool. There's Meta. Let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft contracts. I haven't traded Microsoft in a minute because it's been ugly up until now. What I mean by ugly, if you've been hearing me, this grind channel, right? We need it to either break above or break back below, right? Get out of this channel. Now Microsoft has done that with its earnings. So it could be a nice trading opportunity The same idea on Meta, okay? But Microsoft contracts are a little bit more affordable. Or you can see here, these will cool off in the morning, okay? These contracts will cool off. That just means they will get cheaper, okay? And I can look at some of these and see if I can find an entry on Microsoft to maybe pull back as it moves higher, right? This RSI, look at it, almost at 90. So the higher it is, the better short position I could potentially get. The 4 hour almost at 90. Okay. So I hope it stays higher so I can enter puts on it. Okay. So Microsoft, same idea. Okay. Same idea. So I'm going to just mark that. Okay. And I'm going to mark this 550. I'm talking about Meta still. I'll mark this 550 level, which is a nice psych level. You can see it holding up. So I'm gonna mark that as a support. And I'm going to mark this deeper support, which is the previous high of 520. I doubt it's going to pull all the way back down to there, but you just never know. Want to be prepared. 520 right around there. Okay. Cool. So 550 breaks below 550. We can come a little bit lower. All right. We're in uncharted territory. Microsoft never been up here. Okay. It's at new all-time highs, 550. So on a mark 5.6, just mark 570 right there. Okay. All right. So there's Microsoft. Same idea. Okay. Let's look at Hood. Now I like Hood because it's kind of manageable up here, meaning, let's see how it's looking, right? We can kind of control this a little bit more because it is in a territory where it's been before, right? So I wish it would have stayed up here personally, but you see the big reject on Hood. So there's some more profit taking that may want to come in on Robinhood as it's made a tremendous move from $5-6 up to $100+. So Hood is ready for a pullback. This could be a nice double top on it. Okay. At 110. Could be a nice double top on 110, but we've got to see these levels break below. And my key level is really 100. Okay. Breaking below 100, that nice round psych level that it's been trying to get to, is so key for Hood to come lower. Okay. So if it gets there, I mean, it could get pretty drastic and a bigger pullback back into this 90 to 95 zone. Okay. So I'm gonna be watching Hood more specifically as it has a clear reject. If we can get another pop on it, for example, if I see a little pop there like that, that would be a nice entry for potentially puts. Okay. So if I see a pop on it a little bit higher and it still rejects, that's when I would look for it. Okay. It would look something like that. Okay. So I'm gonna be watching Hood to see what it does. It's kind of flat here on earnings, as you can see, just from today, popped, failed, and then right back to where it was. Okay. What else had earnings? ARM. Ooh, wow. Okay. So ARM took a nosedive off that resistance. Okay. So that's going to have a big gap on it as well, right? So that could be an opportunity for potentially finding a bottom and calls back up on ARM. Okay. So ARM is in the semiconductor sector. Same thing with AMD and NVIDIA. So we could look at those as well to see if those have opportunities as NVIDIA has broken in new highs, right? Not even slowing down one bit. Okay. So I personally just letting the shares ride on AMD and NVIDIA. I have left them alone until they find a top. I really want to short them personally. Again, the only reason, because overextension, right? AMD as it's coming up in this 195, 200, right? And there will just be a day trade, like a scalp up into 190 or so, right? As it approaches that 188, 190, I've got a clear level over here that there is resistance. Okay. So same thing. But ARM could be interesting. Does it continue down further? I want to watch this daily 20, which is below, and I want to watch that daily 200 as well, right there. So does it hold that 130? That's further down. Excuse me. It says only at 150 right now. And that's a nice support level as well. 150, nice cycle level too. So that could hold 150 and want to go higher. I want to mark that daily 20 as well, which is right there at 155, 156. Okay. Right here is key. 155, 156. Does it reclaim that and start squeezing all the way back up to the highs? Okay. So ARM, we'll keep an eye on. Nice risk to reward, nice potential like $15 move back up if it holds this level, and we will see. All right. Qualcomm, QCOM, that also had earnings. Wow. Okay. So again, these were due for a little bit of a pullback. Okay. So it's at 150, which is right at the daily 20. Sitting right here at the daily 20. I'm going to mark that as support. And you can see where I'm getting that from. After hours, it's at 150. So it's right here. Okay. So if it holds that 150, that could be another one that just has a nice move back to the upside for a nice little gap fill back up. Okay. So when we have a fall, I want to mark again, those previous lows acting as resistance. So I'm going to mark that low. And these are targets back to the upside. Okay. It's like building a house. Again, we got to reclaim those levels. Got to reclaim that one. I'm just looking left. Okay. If it gets back above that 153, okay, cool. What did it do last time? Went back to 156. There's that big move there and goes all the way back up to 160. And there would be like the final target technically would be right there. So it looks something like this. If it does hold up that level. Okay. Now, you don't want to jump straight in because what if it continues to fall? All right. So we watch based off of candlesticks and reactions. You can kind of see what it's doing here. All right. Does it curl up and a big move up? Okay, cool. First indication and go to the next level, then go to the next level. All right. Cool. There are the earnings. And also look at this RSI. It's oversold. Right. It's at 15, 16. Right. On a 4 hour, an hourly. So if it stays down here, that could be a nice slingshot move back to the upside. All right. Amazon, remember we got earnings, so I kind of want to wait on that until it reports. But if it goes higher, I don't mind shorting Amazon. Same idea as Meta and Microsoft. The higher some of these tech stocks go, let your shares ride, but trading is different. Okay. I do not want to chase it to the upside. And if it gets a deeper pullback, I'll look at calls. But if I can get a reject for puts off resistance, meaning making money coming down, that's even better. All right. Let's see. Any others that I wanted to mention? I mentioned SoFi because I want to shout everybody out for a nice SoFi trade. And I'll go to our Discord where you can join. All right. If you want to join us in live trading. Carvana, CVNA, that also had earnings. Big pop there on Carvana. I typically don't trade these spreadier stocks. We have a moderator inside of the community, James. He trades these very, very well. You can see the IV on them. They're 200%, so they need to cool off. But Carvana, we'll see where that goes. Just absolutely breaking out to new highs. Just crazy, right? So it's at 385. That means it is broken into a new all-time high. Okay, so maybe it wants to go to 400. So I just go ahead and mark that 400 level on Carvana. One of the biggest sleepers that, I just fell asleep on during 2020. Okay. 2022. This dip down here on Carvana at, $10, $15, $20, right? When everyone was questioning who's going to buy a car from a vending machine. And I gave a whole rationale and we talked about Carvana buying it, at $50, $60 or lower. Just crazy. All right. Cool. With that being said, I'm going to shout out some community members inside of here and, we just been absolutely on a streak. Okay. Absolutely on a streak. This is our day trading signals. As you can see, this is Leverage University. The link will be down below. There's a 3-day trial you can join. We'd love to have you inside. I do teach as well. So it's just not live trading and signals. Like I'm giving education while I'm getting into trades. As you can see, every trade that I get into, I typically post the chart so you can follow along and I'll update it to see how it works out. Okay. We also have a swing trading channel. These are trades that you can hold longer, right? It might take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month or so to play out. So this typically works well for people that are a little bit busier. And then our shares and leaps, what everyone's typically familiar with, right? Congrats on SoFi shares that we picked up, back underneath $10, right? And they're now at $25, right? So we do shares as well. So if you're not more of a trader, right, and you're looking for just, hey, where do I buy this stock, right? Can I hold, 100 shares or 1,000 shares, or there's something cheap I can buy right now? You do not have to trade. We do long-term as well, right? And there's much more in here. If you need to know about crypto, we have all of our levels on Bitcoin, where to buy. There's the Bitcoin pop back there. And hopefully everyone's positioned last year. There we go. And we have altcoins. So if you need to know about where Doge, Cardano, Ethereum, Sol, XRP, some of those, where they're going, we post those as well. This is not just a trading community. This is an entrepreneurial community as well. So I do life coaching and business coaching for clients, building out back-end systems, funnels, websites, giving coaching modalities, setting up businesses, getting business funding, right? If you know, you know. So you can see here that there's other hubs, a community hub, thought leader hub, book club, mindset work, psychology, and then my private clients that are in these higher level syndicate and mentorship levels. Okay. Finally, the university section is where I typically record my trainings. So people, that want to learn, hey, do you have a section where I can watch a video over, or if I miss a trade, or anything else that I want to learn? I do trade reviews all in there inside of our Discord that you can rewatch. Okay. So you can take it at your own pace. Right. So we'd love to have you inside, whether you're busy professional, career professional, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a little time or a lot of time, right? This opportunity is here for you. We'd love to have you. 3-day trial link is down below. And there should be a little discount code as well that pops up for you that gives you 10% off. So we'd love to have you there. It takes a little bit of money off the top. All right. Without further ado, appreciate you all for tapping in. And I didn't even shout y'all out. Jeez, we took SoFi and we just been absolutely killing it lately. Okay. So shout out to our wins channel here. Okay. There's David. He's a personal trainer, a corporate personal trainer, does really well for himself. And he's even taking trades at the gym. Okay. So killed SoFi. Looking at UPS for a nice dip buy as well. There's today's wins, AMDL, NVDL, on shares, NVIDIA scalp, IWM puts. There's David again. Shout out to him. There's Ben. Awesome week for him. Over $1,000 for the week. $400 there, right there. Tesla put, cool. Just wins everywhere. And I'm just shouting out those. Now we do trade loss. We do, if I take a loss or something happens, I'm pretty transparent there. Took a little stop out loss, 25%, whatever. But as you can see, nothing recent, right? Nothing really recent here that we've really had. And the market's been really, really nice. We've been really patient. Shout out to my boy James as well that took a nice earnings trade on Wingstop. Okay. And then Dreama, who took SoFi calls today at 67%. Just absolutely beautiful. So shout out to everybody. Appreciate you all. As always, links down below. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, continuously growing this channel. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. We're growing continuously. A lot of people are learning. Amazing community. I appreciate you all. Until next time, talk to you later. Peace.